folks. Best form of Alabama football news, notes, and information you will find anywhere. This right here being in my own words, the podcast with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine, coming to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. As always, we are streaming this live to you guys, not just via YouTube, but also via Twitter as well. The show, not just about me, but it's about my man, John Ivory. I'll call him JP, but John Ivory always doing his thing behind the scenes, making sure the show sounds good, feels good, looks good. And for you, the Crimson Tide fan, we encourage you each and every time to drop a thumbs up, give a like on the show, and hit that subscribe button. What that does for us here at TDA is it tells us to continue to supply you, provide to you the best in news, notes, and coverage on your favorite football program, that being the Alabama Crimson Tide. It is because of you that we are over 8,000. That's right. Over 8,000 subscribers strong on the YouTube channel. So definitely want you to continue to help us grow the brand, network, and the channel. Got a jam-packed slate of topics to get to on this evening. First and foremost, we'll dive into a couple of updates here. But after that, we'll go into Alabama making it official. Nick Saban making it official with bringing on David Ballou and Dr. Matt Rhea onto the Alabama coaching staff, making them a part of the Crimson Tide football family. And which player will benefit the most from having Ballou and Rhea in Tuscaloosa? We'll touch on that first. After that, we will revisit the conversation of former Alabama defensive back Noah Igbinoghene. He said that Auburn has become the best team in the state of Alabama. Is this really true? We'll dissect even more to that conversation. And then last but not least, is Georgia trying to create Alabama 2.0? Kirby Smart trying to so much be like his pops, Nick Saban. But is Kirby really trying to create an Alabama 2.0 situation? All of this plus your phone calls, tweets, text messages, comments in the chat line, and more on today's edition of shows. But first off here, these updates, and from us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine, myself here at In My Own Words, the podcast, we would like to give our best wishes, our condolences, our prayers, our positive thoughts to the residents, the citizens of Nashville, Tennessee, that went through just a horrific tornado twister between Monday night and Tuesday morning. Quite a few lives were taken, possessions were affected and taken away, just horrifying pictures that were posted around about the area that is Nashville, Tennessee. I have a couple of great friends that live in Nashville. I was fortunate to be able to call them today and also on Tuesday. They're doing well, so very thankful for that. But our prayers, our thoughts, our best wishes out to the people, the citizens of Nashville, Tennessee in this time right now. As we get into some more updates involving former Crimson Tide players, the months of March and April, very eventful months, so have these dates here on your calendar. First and foremost, the first day of Alabama spring football practice will be Friday, March 13th. Once again, that's Friday, March 13th, the first day of spring ball. Former Alabama quarterback and Oklahoma signal caller Jalen Hurts will hold his first ever youth football camp at the Hoover Met Complex in Hoover, Alabama, on March 22nd. That's March 22nd. Jalen Hurts, former Crimson Tide quarterback, Oklahoma Sooner quarterback, holding his first ever youth football camp at the Hoover Met Complex. And then Tua Tagovailoa on April 18th, the same day as the A-Day game, Saturday, April 18th, Tua will have his first ever, he will hold his first ever youth football camp at Tuscaloosa County High School in Northport, Alabama. Tuscaloosa County High School in Northport. The price of registration, $149 for Tua's football camp. Now, of course, he will also have to get his footprint and his cleat print enshrined at Denny Chimes and being a permanent team captain. But Tua, on Saturday, April 18th, from 9 a.m. to noon, will have his youth football camp at Tuscaloosa County High School in Northport. And also Alabama's Pro Day will be on March 24th. So just some dates that are on the calendar. But we dive into the first topic of conversation for the evening, that being the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban, making things official. The contracts have been signed. The ink has dried. The pen has been put to the paper in terms of David Ballou and Dr. Matt Rhea. Both are here. Both are a part of the Alabama football family. News was made official on Tuesday as a press release was given out by the University of Alabama football program. And Nick Saban getting fancy with these titles right here. David Ballou comes in as the Director of Sports Performance. Dr. Matt Rhea comes in as the Director of Performance Science. And the program's happy. The players are happy. I'm jumping up and down inside. Of course, you, the diehard Crimson Tide fan base, you guys are very excited. And from top to bottom, from the top of the totem pole, that being head coach Nick Saban, the lowest man on the pole, everybody will benefit. Everybody will appreciate having Dr. Rhea and Coach David Ballou in here. They will both have a chance to be special at this program. But for me, if I had to single out one player, if I had to pull out one player that will greatly benefit the most from having these two guys in here, I'm going to go Shane Lee. Shane Lee, the inside linebacker, coming into his sophomore year from the Maryland area, the 4-star in the 2019 class at 6 feet, 246 pounds. Now, if we were to solely judge, no, I'm not going to use the word judge. That word is overly too harsh. If we were to solely evaluate Shane Lee for his freshman season just off the data, just off the stats, just off the numerical value, Shane Lee had a strong freshman season. I mean, he put up 86 tackles on the year, which was second behind Xavier McKinney. He led all freshman defenders in total tackles with 86. He had 6.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 1 interception. So through the 13 games he played in, Shane Lee filled out the stat sheet beautifully. I mean, he was a freshman, made the freshman All-SEC team, made the freshman All-America team for the Football Writers Association of America and for ESPN. So in terms of just the numerical data, in terms of just the stats, in terms of the numbers he put up, and when you look at the box score every game throughout the 2019 season, if we are evaluating Shane Lee just off that statistic, off that merit, he actually had a pretty productive freshman season. But myself here, in terms of the media, when you look at Alabama football, of course, you, the devoted Crimson Tide fan, we're not basing Shane Lee off the statistics. When you look at Mr. Lee, despite the year that he had, if you go into the big games, the marquee games from this past season, Auburn, LSU, I guess you can throw Ole Miss as a marquee game, and even some smaller scale games like Southern Mississippi. Two things that we saw on tape, or we saw in the actual games that we were able to partake in and go to, the speed of Shane Lee and the consistent power of Lee, not where it needs to be at, not where it should be at. And case in point, we go back to the Southern Miss game. There was a play in that matchup where Southern Miss, I believe they came out of the shotgun on this play. They snuck the running back out in the flat on like a wheel route, and Shane Lee has to keep up with him, stay with him. Now, of course, granted for him, Alabama was able to get a pass rush on this play. The throw was off. The throw was affected. It was a poorly underthrown ball or a poorly overthrown ball, and the receiver, the running back in question, was not able to make the catch. But as you can clearly see, if you watch the tape, the guy was able to run right by Shane Lee, and Lee could not quite keep up with him. And that's just the Southern Miss game. If that ball was thrown on point, if it was thrown on the button, if it was thrown on target, and if the rush does not affect the quarterback, then that running back in question makes that catch. Then you go to the Ole Miss game. Now, I give Shane Lee the benefit of the doubt on this one. John Rice Plumlee, that boy can run. That boy is 4.4 speed. Bucket, 4.4 speed. That guy's a world-class athlete. So I can understand the fact that Shane Lee was having a difficult time keeping him contained, keeping him corralled. Shane Lee was trying to chase the guy around, and John Rice Plumlee not having none of that, just outspeeding Lee to the sideline or outspeeding or out-finessing Lee up the field. But at the same time, when you're used to seeing linebackers that can go sideline to sideline, have that lateral quickness to eat up the field, i.e. the players like C.J. Mosley, Mack Wilson, Rashaan Evans, Reggie Ragland, Reuben Foster, those types of players. And when you don't have that, or when you're not seeing that consistently in a Shane Lee, you miss seeing that type of action on the field. Those guys that can rip the field up, see the play, dissect the play, and take away the angles from these high-powered dual-threat quarterbacks. So the matchup against Ole Miss with John Rice Plumlee was a little bit difficult there for Shane Lee. And then the Auburn game, the Iron Bowl. And one play in particular for the Iron Bowl, if y'all remember, Auburn had pushed the ball to the red area, that got down, that moved the ball down inside the 10, inside the 5-yard line in the red zone. And Auburn comes out in the shotgun. They're going with this zone read keep play, and Bo Nix is reading the defensive end. I believe it's either Byron Young or Justin Aborigbe or Raekwon Davis. He's reading the defensive end, one of the defensive ends on this play, and as he's reading the end crashes down, and Bo Nix is able to pull the ball out of the belly of Jatavius Whitlow, and he's trying to come around the end. Now, on that play, Christian Harris was supposed to take the quarterback. He does not take the quarterback. He tries to come too much inside. He gets maneuvered out of the play, but Shane Lee allows for himself to be blocked out of the play. If you watch this on film, Shane Lee blocked completely out of the play, not able to go in there and attack the football. So I brought up those three situations, or those few situations, to say that Dr. Matt Rhea, the main thing he did at IMG Academy as the head of sports science, and the main thing he did as the head athletics performance guy at Indiana, his baby, his brainchild was speed training, speed improvement, speed development. That's what he did. And he was an absolute genius at IMG from 2015 to 2016, as he was able to get about 9 to 10 guys to have a laser 40 time of under a 4.5 in the 40-yard dash. And at Indiana, he greatly improved the speed of all of those guys, whether they were skill players, defensive linemen, linebackers, the guys in Indiana. You notice from 2018 to this past year, the speed of those guys had greatly improved because of the analytics, the data, the teachings, but the types of stations that Matt Rhea was able to put those guys through in terms of speed. Now you put him with the Shane Lee, he is going to be able to greatly improve or maximize or make better the speed of Lee, so that he's not having to, or he's not slow. He's not having to really huff and puff to get after the quarterbacks or get after running backs. He will have the speed to eat up the field, take away the angle, make plays in getting toward the football, but not just the speed. When you look at David Ballou, his whole thing is strength training. His whole thing is making sure you have that power to shed, wipe away the hands of an offensive lineman and attack the ball. Not allow yourself to be blocked in, not allow those offensive linemen to get their hands on you and move you yards away from the play. When he sees an offensive lineman coming, Shane Lee's got to be able to take his hands, boom, swipe that offensive lineman away from him, still keep his eyes on the play, and get to the football. So I feel like, wow, Dylan Moses is very excited for these two to be back. I think Shane Lee will be the one that will greatly benefit from having David Ballou and having Dr. Matt Rhea here in the program. But we're going to take our first break here on In My Own Words, the podcast. Don't touch that dial, baby. Just getting started. When we return, we dive into your phone calls, thoughts, questions, and concerns right after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back inside the action here, folks, known as In My Own Words, the podcast on a Wednesday hump day, hottest show on the streets. Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And folks, it's your time. Your time, ladies and gentlemen, 205-448-1358, the number to call in to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. You can also text with that number, leave a voicemail with that number. If Twitter is your thing, you can tweet the show directly at In My Own Words TDA. Once again, that's at In My Own Words TDA. You can tweet me directly at Coaching M. Smith. Once again, that's at Coaching M. Smith. But the number to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. As always, be sure to drop that thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button so we can continue providing you with the best in Tide football. But we take our first caller of the night. It's my man, Wayland. Wayland, what's going on, man?
Stephen M., it's hump day and it's a rainy night in Georgia. What's going on, man? What's going on?
Man, I'm doing well, man. You know what, Wayland? We got to get you on American Idol or something, man.
Oh, man, I tell you what, no, it'd be, they'd laugh me off the stage. I'd have to do like the old Roadhouse with Jeff Healy band used to be. I'd have to be behind the chicken wire, Stephen. 10-4.
We got, hey, Wagon, I'm telling you, Wagon, we're gonna find a way to get you on American Idol. But man, with the ink drying on the contracts of Rhea and Ballou, both of these guys in here, how you feel about it, Wagon? And who do you think is the player that can greatly benefit from these two?
Well, I was, thinking I'd agree with you about Shane Lee. I put a little post up. I thought he, done a great job there the freshman year, stepping up, just stepping on the field and, may have overreacted on some plays and this and that. But like you said, overall, I thought he had a great freshman season, and I think he'll be one of the people that will be able to maybe benefit from these guys, lose a little weight, maybe gain a little more speed, and be able to control his speed and be able to, hit that correct gap where he needs to be and maybe not so much thinking. What do you think about that? How does that sound?
Sounds good, man. I mean, Shane Lee had a good year. Statistics-wise, he had a great year. There's just some things that he needs to clean up, and it's natural for a freshman to go out there year one and, make some mistakes, trying to feel your way around playing Alabama football. But he learned from what happened last year. He'll be better for it. And getting two guys in here that master in different things. Rhea, of course, is speed. Ballou, more so power. But the two together will really help Shane Lee become a force at some point soon.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I feel good about the whole thing, sure do there. But like I always say, I know we got a lot of people who want to call in the queue, and I know you noticed you talked a little bit Monday evening at the end of the show once again about Mr. Golding. So I made up us done a little poem there for Mr. Golding here at the end of the show. We always want to have our 3 hearty laughs of the day, like you always say, and so we're going to end our conversation like this, Stephen. Roses are red, violets are blue. Pete Golding, this is the year Nick Saban has made for you. If you balk or if you slip, Charlie Strong will take that money right off your hip. See you Friday night, Stephen. Be good.
Appreciate it, Wagon. Man, we got to get Wagon on American Idol, man. Appreciate Wagon for the call and the poetry. Got another caller in the queue on a Wednesday. You're live on In My Own Words, the podcast. What's on your mind? We're going to go to our next caller here. You're live on In My Own Words, the podcast. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen? I actually wanted to call in. I was trying to call in on last show. I wanted to address something that that very last caller was talking about. He was talking about the transfer portal and not necessarily blaming the kids and things like that. And I wanted to offer a different perspective, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Feel free.
All right. So, while I understand what the guy was saying, he made a lot of really great points, a lot of valid points. But my counter to that is that, these players, they also have to understand that it's important for them not to commit solely to a coach. That you're committing to the school as well. That's part of what helps you, make that decision to not feel so emotionally attached to whoever's there. And while I get what he's saying, that these kids, that they believe in what these coaches are saying, and they get attached to them in a certain way. It's also important, again, like I was saying, that you can't allow yourself to get so wrapped up in certain individuals that you forget about that you're wearing and representing that school that you're committing to. And I think that if more players have that same mindset, they won't find themselves caught up in this situation where they feel that they would have to go chase after a coach if he leaves, that you're committed to a school and you want to honor that commitment to that school.
I understand that. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, that's a great point. Just due to when you sign your name on that dotted line, you sign that letter of intent. You are intending to go play for that particular university. You're not trying to play for that particular coach. You're trying to play for that particular school. And the point is, once you get there, your goal is to find each and every way possible to get on the field, to start, if not start, at least be a contributor. Whether it's on special teams, offense, defense, doesn't matter. Find your way to get on that field, build up some tape for yourself, and build on that tape that you're trying to build. So completely agree with that, just seeing how the goal is to play for a school and the goal is to get on the field and make a name for yourself.
Well, it's not just that, too. I mean, I was fortunate to spend, some time at the University of Alabama, got my degree there, but at the same time, I also know all the ins and outs about the entire university. And I think that when these players, when they go on these visits, they also got to know the area in which they're going to. Now, if you know that you're not comfortable being 2, 3, 4, 5 hours away from home, then what's the point in you going somewhere we already know you're probably going to get homesick? It should feel like home. You should feel like, if the head coach leaves, if my position coach leaves, I still want to be here. That's the whole thing that they got to start making sure that when these guys commit, that you know that they're committing because they feel at home and at peace with the university, the institution that they're going to, not at peace with just the individual, because it's just like a relationship. If my girlfriend breaks up with me, then I'm more likely to want to to not want to be where I'm more likely to want to go somewhere else, or if she decides to go somewhere else, I want to go where she's at. That's a better example. But if I say, you know what, I'm committed to this institution, this is where I want to spend the next 3 to 4 or 5 years or whatever, then it doesn't matter who comes and goes. You're going to want to see it through. So that's just my thoughts on it. I know there's a variety of perspectives, and like I said, I thought the guy, he made a lot of good points, and I appreciated hearing someone speak on it. But I wanted to give my rebuttal on Monday, but I think I missed the last part of the call-in section. But I enjoyed the show. Just keep on, y'all keep doing what y'all do, and I'll hang up and get your last thoughts on that.
I appreciate the call, man. Fresh perspective, fresh thought. I like the idea that you brought to the table. We got another call here in the queue. You are live on a Wednesday in My Own Words, the podcast with Stephen M. Smith. What's on your mind?
Hello.
You're live on In My Own Words. What's on your mind?
Hi, my name's Owen.
Okay.
And I'm from Buffalo, and I want to know how the Jalen Waddle, Najee Harris, and Devontae Smith are gonna do this year.
Oh, man, great question. I think Najee Harris is going to have another 1,000-yard year because he came back. I think Jalen Waddle is going to have a big year, probably a 1,000-yard season, give or take. He's going to probably have a good 4 punt return touchdowns, and I like what Devontae Smith's going to do. I think he's going to be big. But appreciate the call, man. We got another caller in the queue. We are lighting it up on a Wednesday. You're live on In My Own Words. What's on your mind?
What's up, Stephen? This is Sean. This is Rashawn from Huntsville. I was the guy that had called in talking about the transfer portal. My man had just called and addressed me.
Okay.
I wanted to address him again back if I possibly could, too.
Feel
he
free,
made
go
some
ahead.
great points, too. Yeah, he made some great points to my points just now, saying commit to the school and things of that nature, and don't let distance be a factor. And all those are super good points, man. And we as parents, when you have a child that's being recruited, those are things that you do need to run by them. You do need to run that by your young man that's being recruited or your young lady that's being recruited. But I'm going to give you the actuality of it, man. Being someone who's been through this process, who's had multiple family members go through this process here recently. Follow me when I say this so you won't take it wrong. The way he came is a great way of thinking, but it's an adult way of thinking. It's the way we think now. You know what I mean? When you're 18 to 22, you're not really worried about distance until you get there. I mean, you think about it, but you're worried about, other things other than the distance. The distance is never a factor when you're being recruited until you have to live there. You see what I'm saying? And as far as committing to the school, what do you guys think the difference is between Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State? If you're being recruited and you got 4 hats on that table, you got Clemson there, you got Alabama there, you have Ohio State there, let's just say you have LSU there. What do you guys think the difference is for this kid? You can line up 10 children with that same scenario. You may have 2 that grew up fans of Alabama, if they grew up in the state or outside the state, who go to the school just because they were a fan of the school. The other 8 are committing to whatever university they commit to because of a coach. Trust me on this. You know what I mean? Every one of those kids has a bond or a relationship or to some coach, to whether it's a position coach, whether it's the head coach. Every one of those children that you see committing on these national signing days, I'm telling you guys, has a relationship with a coach that teeters their decision. That's the reality of it, man. These coaches form relationships with these kids when they're in the 9th grade. You know what I mean? The ones that are fortunate enough to still be there. The reason why Clemson has had so much success, and this is straight from the kids' mouth. Like I said, I coach in the summer. I'm down at these camps. I've been to Bama camps I don't know how many times. I've taken 11 kids down there at one time. Listen to me when I tell you the difference is they form relationships with these coaches. For these kids, when you travel to these different campuses, it's only a minute detail that separates Alabama from Clemson, from Ohio State, from it could be weather, It could be anything, man. It could be anything. When you have these relationships with these position coaches, that is why do you think Coach Saban stresses so much to keep coaches from hopping from school to school? He wants to keep the continuity of the staff because these kids form relationships with these assistants, and that is why they commit to these universities. That is the sole purpose why Clemson has been successful lately. These guys have a staff where these kids feel comfortable going. The kids tell you that themselves. It's just the continuity in the coaching staff. I have a relationship with Coach such and such, and they feel comfortable when they go on these visits. And to Alabama's credit, to Coach Saban's credit, his cachet is so built up to where sometimes kids will give him the benefit of the doubt because Coach Saban is a very smart man. He recruits the parents first, and then he shows the attention to the young man. But to the young man who just called, there was some great points. I really, really, really enjoyed it. But trust me, please believe me out there. These kids are committing to these universities, especially the top kids. I'm not really necessarily speaking on the kid who grew up a Bama fan all his life. You know, you're going to play at Bama, doesn't matter who recruits you. I'm talking about the kid that, let's just say, from Louisville, Kentucky. He's got the top 5 schools. He don't know where to go. He's toured all of them on official visits and unofficial visits. He's camped at all of them. I'm telling you, the difference in that kid is relationships. Go ask any top 5 kid, why did they commit to such and such school? And they'll tell you, my relationship with Coach such and such. What do you think about that?
Man, you are bringing it in terms of your thoughts, in terms of how you are framing this whole situation. Love the thought process, man. Keep listening to us. Love the call.
Thanks for having me. Roll Tide to all the fans out there, and we will continue to support.
Getting some good calls, man. Good calls all night so far with some good comments here. We got another call in the queue. You are live on In My Own Words, the podcast on a Wednesday. What's on your mind?
Hey, Stephen, how's it going? I was wondering what your thoughts are on Trey Sanders now he was hurt last year. Do you think he will get a lot of playing time this season? And thank you for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Love Trey Sanders. Think he will. I believe he will get playing time this season. Brian Robinson is going to try to get some big playing time as well. But with Trey Sanders, he can do so much. Catching the ball out the backfield, run the ball in between the tackles, tremendous speed. I remember my comp for him was Alvin Kamara and Ezekiel Elliott in terms of a National Football League. If he didn't get hurt, Trey was set to have a monster year. So I think Trey has big things headed for him in the upcoming season. Love Trey Sanders.
Will he be like a compliment to Najee Harris? Najee's more like a power back.
Najee, I would say power, but I think Najee's more power and finesse combined. He can run through you. Yes, he can. He can drag guys. We saw that against LSU and down the remaining stretch of the season. But he can also finesse guys. He can hurdle. He can spin around. He has a little stiff arm there. So Najee's a combination of different things. But started off more so finesse. I think now he started to find his power. No problem. Appreciate the call, man. Keep listening to us.
Will do. Thanks.
We're going to go to our next break here, folks, on In My Own Words, the podcast. Don't touch that dial. Upon our return, we jump into the comments made by one Noah Igbinoghene, former Auburn defensive back. Is Auburn really becoming the best team in the state of Alabama? We'll discuss right after this.
If you want delicious home-style cooking, sushi, and hibachi, check out Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. At home and you can't get away from the TV because the Crimson Tide is about to score? Don't worry, delivery is also available through Waitr and Crimson2go. That's Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And make sure you let them know the good folks at Touchdown Alabama sent you. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back in from the break, ladies and gentlemen, on the hottest show on the streets, the best form of Alabama football news, notes, and information on the first Wednesday, first hump day in the month of March. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, and we dive into former Auburn defensive back Noah Igbinoghene. Noah Igbinoghene sat there and said, he said this at the NFL Scouting Combine, that he believes that Auburn has become the best team in the state of Alabama, just based on the Tigers winning 2 of the last 3 Iron Bowls, Auburn winning in 2017 and in 2019. Of course, Alabama won in 2018. And then on top of that, he has the feeling that Auburn is going to be able to beat Alabama in terms of recruiting. Just everything you'll see, it's about to happen. These words coming from Noah Igbinoghene. But I'll say this, and congratulations to Auburn. They did win 2 of the last 3 Iron Bowls. But I'll say this. Auburn, the obsession that Auburn has in just beating Alabama, it's not winning national championships. It's not even winning conference titles. The one thing Auburn wants to do, as long as we beat Alabama, we can go 0-11, right? 0-11, just 0 for the barbecue. We can stank the bed up. We can go 0 for the barbecue. As long as that 12th game against Alabama, we the Auburn Tigers, we the Auburn family, as long as we win that game, we've had the greatest season of all time. As long as we win that game and we spoil what Alabama has to do, we've done our job. We have had an incredible season. I mean, Auburn is focused on state titles. Auburn is focused on just beating Alabama. The mindset of Auburn, it's not national championships. The mindset of Auburn is not SEC titles. The mindset of Alabama is Southeastern Conference championships, getting to the college football playoff, and winning national championships. However, this year's Iron Bowl, due to the fact that it will be played in Bryant-Denny, not Jordan Hare in Lee County, can't stand that place. But this year's Iron Bowl is going to be very pivotal for both teams. This year's Iron Bowl, very pivotal for Alabama because of the fact that the rich talent in terms of recruiting is coming back to the state of Alabama. At one point in time, in the early years of Nick Saban here in Tuscaloosa, we're talking about 2008, 2009, 2010, the earlier years of Nick Saban, the rich talent was in the state. When you discuss names like Julio Jones, Mark Barron, Ray Kirkpatrick, I mean, you get the picture, Rolando McClain, C.J. Mosley, the rich talent was in the state of Alabama. Now, Rolando McClain, I think, was a Schumer recruit, but the rich talent in the early years of Nick Saban was in the state of Alabama. And then it would go to other states, to other areas, and the Crimson Tide would pick up that national appeal in states like California, Texas, Georgia, Florida, New York, Maryland, just different areas across the globe. But the last 2 classes, the 2019 and 2020 class, the talent pool started to come back south. It started to come back to the state of Alabama. And when you look at the 2021 class, especially names like DeQuincy McKinstry, who is a defensive back, a cornerback out of Pinson, Alabama, he's currently committed to Auburn. And then you've got Dylan Brooks out of Roanoke, Alabama, Handley High School. He's a defensive lineman, outside linebacker, kind of a tweener guy. He's committed to Auburn. And then you got Lee Hunter, the big defensive tackle out of 8 Mile, Alabama, Blount High School. He's committed to Auburn. And then you got Jeremiah Williams, the defensive lineman, outside linebacker, another tweener-type guy from Birmingham, Alabama, Ramsey High School. He's committed to the Crimson Tide. And then you've got Armani Goodwin, the big-time running back out of Hewitt-Trussville High School in Trussville, Alabama. He's committed to the Auburn Tigers along with other names. But these names right here that I've just mentioned, these are the big names in this 2021 class that Alabama is going to have to get. You're going to have to find a way. Can you flip a JaQuincy McKinstry? Can you flip a Dylan Brooks? Can you flip a Lee Hunter from Auburn? Can you flip a Armani Goodwin from Auburn? Can you maintain and keep the commitment of a Jeremiah Williams to the University of Alabama? So this class right here, very pivotal. The only reason why the 2020 Iron Bowl loss to Auburn wasn't as bad. I mean, it's always bad when you lose to Auburn. Don't get me wrong. It is always a terrible thing when you're Alabama to lose to Auburn. But the reason why the 2020 class didn't hit as bad in terms of the Iron Bowl loss was Nick Saban pretty much had a 2020 class locked up before the Iron Bowl. I mean, that class was already pretty much a done deal. When you talk about guys like DeMoy Kennedy, Jackson Bratton, Quandarius Robinsons, your Chris Braswells, your, of course, Jamil Burrows, your Jamarian Lanthams. A lot of that 2020 class was already locked up prior to the Iron Bowl, and guys were already talking about, okay, so what? Big whoop. Auburn beat Alabama, no big deal. I'm coming to Bama. I'm coming into Bama this upcoming year, and that ain't going to happen no more. That ain't going to happen again. So the 2020 class was already pretty much set in stone prior to the Iron Bowl. This 2021 class, 2022, and beyond, these are the guys that Alabama and Auburn, that Nick Saban and Gus Malzahn are going to be in a full-on fight to land their commitment, to land their letter of intent, to basically get these guys into the program. So this 2021 Iron Bowl is huge. It is pivotal in the event of can Alabama flip some of these Auburn commits to the Crimson Tide? Can Alabama land some of these commits, some of these in-state guys, and keep their commitment to the capstone, to the Crimson Tide? Just going back to how obsessed Auburn is with beating Alabama. I was at Jordan-Hare Stadium, JP, if you could hear me. I was at Jordan-Hare Stadium this past season, and I was on the field. You know, Auburn won the game, big whoop, 45-48, 48-45, and Auburn stormed the field. Auburn stormed the field after beating Alabama, and there was one girl, God bless her heart, she jumps out of the stands and lands into the bushes. Like, how do you jump? Like, how do you jump out of the stands and land dead into the bushes? I don't know how you do that. Like, where they do that at? But homegirl, she did that. I mean, she was so overjoyed for Auburn win. She was like, feet don't fail me now. Jump. Land dead into them bushes. I mean, she was okay, but that was just hilarious. But the end all be all, Noah Igbinoghene, you gotta like his passion, you gotta like his swagger for his former team. But once again, Auburn gotta come to Bryant-Denny. Auburn gotta come to Bama. Auburn gotta come to T-Town. And Auburn really does not fare well in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So that'll be a good matchup. We'll see who really run the state. We see who really run that yellow hammer between Alabama and Auburn. I think it's the Crimson Tide. In fact, I know it's the Crimson Tide, but this season will be a good one in terms of the Iron Bowl. We're going to go to another break right now on In My Own Words, the podcast. When we get back, we dive into more of your phone calls, questions, and concerns right after this.
Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back getting live to the action. Appreciate you guys joining us on the hottest show on the streets, the best form of Alabama football news, notes, and information. In my own words, the podcast, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Your man, Stephen M. Smith. And as always, folks, this is your time. 205-448-1358. Number to call in and let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. You can also text with that number. Leave a voicemail with that number. If Twitter is your thing, you can tweet the show directly at In My Own Words TDA. At In My Own Words TDA. You can also tweet me directly at Coaching M. Smith. Want to remind you to be sure you drop that thumbs up, give a like on the show, and hit that subscribe button to continue to help us provide to you the best in news, notes, information on your Crimson Tide. But I'm going to check out this YouTube chat line right now. You guys have been the chat line and a few thoughts right now. Start our thoughts off with my man Joseph Salome. Joseph Salome writes in, go Stephen from a Penn State University fan. We got Penn State, the Big Ten listeners to us. So Joseph Salome, we appreciate that. Definitely Nick Saban thinking outside the box here with the hires. Jonathan W. writes in, love the hire, GOAT Nick. I mean Coach. Yes, people are loving the hire that Coach Nick Saban made and bringing in David Ballou and Matt Rhea. Going into some more thoughts here. Sean Dehaney writes in, Sean Dehaney, well, if you have a position coach that gets offered a head coaching job somewhere else, what do you expect? I think Sean Dehaney is referring to the good debate that two of our callers had in the previous segment about the graduate, or about the transfer portal. See here, we got Willie351 writes in, the barn, best in the state, and a bunch of laughing and crying emojis. Well, that's what they think, Willie351. I don't know if they got their hands on the bad batch of Chronic from Dr. Dre. I don't know if they got their hands on the bad batch of cocaine. I mean, I don't know what Auburn got their hands on. But they want to believe they're the best in the state. Noah Igbinoghene wants to believe that his former team, the Auburn Tigers, are number one in the state. We'll let them believe what they feel like they want to believe. But this Iron Bowl is in Tuscaloosa. This Iron Bowl is in Bryant-Denny. We'll see will they put up or shut up then. So that's just my thoughts on the situation here. Jason Sparks writes in, remember, players from Auburn have no brains. Plain stupid. Jason Sparks, appreciate the comment there coming in. Sound Diva 22 writes in, Najee the hurdler, he can really get airborne. Yes, he can. He's gotten better in terms of the power, but definitely has those hurdling abilities. We go to the phone call. We go to the call-in line right now. We grabbing a caller for this segment. You are live on In My Own Words, the podcast. What's on your mind?
These nuts got him.
We got another call coming into the queue. You're live here on In My Own Words, the podcast. What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen? Love the show, man. Question I have for you is going into next year, you look at the schedule, the game that really sticks out is Georgia. And then you look at LSU being a revenge game, and Auburn as well. But there's always, it always seems like there's a team that, we don't expect to, give us a game that kind of just sneaks up out of nowhere. Do you think, look at the schedule, who do you see as that team this year, like as a as a team that we may be underrating, but maybe matchup, have some matchups that can give us some trouble this year.
I'm going to throw out two teams. I feel more confident about one than the other. I look at Arkansas and Mississippi State. Arkansas is very much so improved. Got a new offensive coordinator in Kendall Browse coming in here. Now, Browse is not new to college football, but he's really good. They got a quarterback in KJ Jefferson, who's a dual-threat four-star. Really like watching that young man play. Rakeem Boyd is back at running back. So Arkansas presents some challenges. They got a brand-new coaching staff in here. They've got some young, fresh ideas. The Hogs may sneak up on a couple of people, give or take. And then there's Mississippi State. Now, of course, Mike Leach is going to have more work on his shoulders versus Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. But in the years to come, Mike Leach will be tough down there at State. But right now, if I had to give a team, I would watch the Arkansas Razorbacks. They got an offense this year that could be very interesting.
Okay. One more question, if I can get in. What do you have right now as your 4 teams in the playoffs? I know, everybody's saying, Ohio State and Clemson pretty much they don't play anybody, so they're probably going to be in the playoffs, especially Clemson. Then you think, one team in the SEC as far as, Alabama, I'm hoping, obviously, but you got Georgia, it's probably the other possibility. But I don't really know who else is out there. Oklahoma, maybe, but they, I don't think their team's going to be as good this year. Like, who do you have as your 4 teams this year?
I like Ohio State with Justin Fields back. I like Ohio State. I like Clemson. They return a lot offensively, led by Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne is back. So Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama. The 4th team, I don't trust the Big 12. You know what? Even with Justin Herbert gone, give me Oregon. Give me Oregon as the 4th team. But those would be my 4, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Oregon. But, man, I appreciate the call. Keep listening to us. But right now we're going to take another break, ladies and gentlemen, on the hottest show on the streets, In My Own Words, the podcast. Upon our return, we dip into, is Georgia trying to create Alabama 2.0? What in the world is going on with Kirby Smart? We'll touch it up right after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We're back in from the break here, folks. In My Own Words, the podcast, Stephen M. Smith. What is Kirby Smart trying to do at Georgia? Is Georgia trying to create Alabama 2.0? Is Kirby Smart trying to be like his papa, Nick Saban, this badly? I mean, first and foremost, Georgia took the whole lighting feature from Alabama. I mean, check this out here. Georgia had these lights last year, as we're cueing the lights on screen. Georgia got their lights way after Alabama debuted theirs in the summer, but Georgia got their chance to unveil its LED light in, I believe, week 3 or week 4 of the season against Notre Dame, trying to be like Bama. But then Alabama gets its lighting feature in here the first night game was week 7 against Tennessee. So they're trying to, they copied the lighting feature that Alabama had, Georgia did. And as we get back in on Kirby here, Kirby not only copied the lighting feature, Kirby copied the whole mantra of Nick Saban when he went to Georgia in 2016, talking about how we're bringing the process to Georgia. What other coach do you know that used the term the process not named Nick Saban? None. Kirby's sitting here going, we're going to bring the process to Georgia. I'm so happy one recruit called him out on that. There was one recruit that said, you know, why go to the copy when the original's right there in Tuscaloosa? Thank goodness that recruit said what he had to say in that particular year. But not only did Kirby take the whole lighting feature, he took some coaches from Alabama. He took Glenn Schumann from the Crimson Tide. You know, Glenn Schumann was a undergraduate assistant. He was a grad assistant, but he was a part of the player personnel department. And then Kirby took him to Georgia. Kirby took Mel Tucker to Georgia after the 2015 season at Alabama. Mel Tucker was the Alabama defensive backs coach. And then Kirby took Aaron Feld to Georgia before Aaron Feld got with the Oregon Ducks. He was at Alabama as a volunteer strength coach 2013 and 2014 before he goes to Georgia in 2015. Teams up with Kirby Smart in 2016 and in 2017. And now he seems to have gotten his hands, or he has now got his hands on Scott Cochran. So many folks believe Kirby Smart has taken the soul, snatched the soul from Alabama and bringing Scott Cochran to Georgia. Now, Scott Cochran dropped a hype video for Georgia on Twitter. Y'all, check this out. I don't know how I feel about this, man. I mean, Scott Cochran, he did some great things in Alabama, don't get me wrong. But the fact that in this hype video he says 6 national championships, 31 players or however many players he put in the NFL draft. And then he has the nerve to put Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry's Heisman ceremonies in his hype video. You got some nerve, Scott Cochran. You got some real nerve in putting this in the hype video, but he put it in there. So Kirby Smart taking the lighting feature idea from Alabama. Kirby Smart taking coaches from Alabama. Kirby Smart taking pictures of the recruiting board. Kirby's doing everything crazy. Can you buy a national championship? That's the biggest thing with Kirby. Can you buy a national championship? I mean, there's only one Walmart, folks. There are Dollar Generals everywhere. There's only one Walmart. Alabama's the Walmart. Kirby's got a bunch of Dollar Generals going around here. That's Kirby. Alabama is the Bounty. Alabama's the quicker picker-upper. Bounty. Georgia is that Cottonelle one-ply. That Cottonelle one-ply that shrivels up the moment it touches the substance. Alabama is Charmin Ultra Strong. Yeah, Charmin Ultra Strong, baby. Georgia is the one-ply toilet tissue. I don't know what the Great Value brand in Georgia's trying to do. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish here. But the biggest thing with Kirby, it don't matter what the moves you make, Georgia fans want to know, when that championship coming, honey bunch? When it coming? You haven't gotten it yet. When is it going to finally arrive? That's what the Georgia fan base is crying out to you, Kirby. When is that championship coming in? And if that championship don't come in, it don't matter what you do, Kirby. You're still not going to outwit the Papa. You're not going to outwit the big dog in Nick Saban. You don't find some type of way to bring this championship in there. But that's just my gripe. I look at Georgia and what Kirby Smart's trying to do. But anyway, folks, if you want to know how to get the best in news, notes, and information on your Alabama Crimson Tide, it's simple. You just download the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app, and you do this by going to your iPhone App Store, downloading it if you're rocking Team Apple, or the Google Play Store if you just so happen to have the Android phone. The podcast options, you can get the podcast for your audio listening needs via iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, iHeartRadio. We got you covered. If the good Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Friday for the TGIF edition of Bama Football Talk. But as always, my favorite statement, even though it's Wednesday, even though you're leaving Bible study, husbands, you know your job. You heard that good word. Now it's time to love that wife. Wife, you heard that good word. Now it's time to love that husband. Children, you heard that good word. Now it's time to get that homework done. You get those 3 hearty meals and those 3 hearty laughs a day. Until next time, folks, you've been rocking with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, and this has been In My Own Words.